Commissioner Ranella.
Here.
Commissioner Hightower.
Here.
Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Goss.
Here.
And Mayor Butler.
Here. Any addition or correction to the minutes? If not, they will be approved. I believe we have some visiting firemen with us today. Ed, you want to step up and hold forth? Good to see you, young man.
Okay, I'd like to thank Mayor Butler and the City Council for allowing me to speak first so we can get on the road back home in St. Louis this evening, sometime this evening. As many of you know, my name is Ed Davis, and 13 years ago, a group of 4 veterans started Veterans on Parade here in Marion. And this being the 13th year, we're ready to go again. Hopefully we'll have some surprises and some new additions for this year's parade. But at this point, it's still a work in progress as always, and usually comes down to the last 2 to 4 weeks. You know, this parade is it's a special parade for a lot of reasons. For what our veterans are going through today, for what our military is going through today, the situations that they're in, the horrendous conditions that they have to be a part of. And, you know, this just helps recognize our local veterans for the services that they give. And it also recognizes the families, because the families as well suffer just as much with their spouses being gone and having to take care of the home front. So again, this parade has a lot of connotations of goodness in the community. It has a lot of connotations of, hey, this is a happy time for a lot of people here in Marion. I've been talking to a group, and I have my committee here, and I certainly like to introduce Wayne Corzine, who's an Army veteran. He's on our board. I have Mary Gabby, who is not a veteran, but she's a volunteer, and she's a worker. And then we have Karen Robertson, who, again, is not a veteran, but a worker who is a volunteer, and every year, since I'm not down here, I don't have to be all the time, they take care of things for me down here. And I really appreciate the committee. And I also have another committee member here who's on the City Council, is Angela Hightower. He's a Air Force veteran. And again, it takes a lot of people to do what we do on Parade Day. And that's why I always need to have them on the day or two before Parade Day. And this committee that we have really steps up and does the job. Otherwise, I couldn't do it. I'd have to throw in the white flag and say, hey, it's time for somebody else to take over. But I get a lot of help, and I'm certainly appreciative of it. You know, the City of Marion has always been receptive to anything for veterans, and not just veterans, but anything that's on a freebie basis, so to speak. And I say that from the heart, because no matter what I've been involved in here in Marion, the city has always backed me. And I'm really thankful to the mayor and the city council for being in that mode, because, again, there's a lot of people that wouldn't, you know, they pick and choose in some cities, because I've lived in a few of them in my lifetime, and they pick and choose the things that they want to be involved in. But the City of Marion and this mayor and this city council every year has always stepped up and helped us with what we try to do. This year's parade is going to be on Saturday, September the 9th. We're going to start at 10 o'clock again, because it seems to work well for a lot of things going on in Marion. We changed it 2 years ago for the Salute to Veterans that was being held at halftime at the football game on that Saturday afternoon. The bands, I've had some feedback from a couple of bands that they like it better. And, you know, if I hear, as long as I don't hear negative comments, we're going to stay the course, and we're going to do it at 10 o'clock. So we have a couple of things that we're working on. I'm working on a flyover from some old airplanes. We're working with a flight engineer out of SIU, and Doug Kimmel. They're older planes. I think one is a P-40, and the other one, I can't remember exactly, but it was a P-something. But, you know, a flyover is just an honor to any veteran. Normally it's done Super Bowl games. But again, for veterans, it's an honor to have a flyover by Air Force planes. This year also, I'm working with, I know many of you have heard the Gary Sinise Foundation. Just recently, 2.5 weeks ago, over in Carbondale, Sergeant First Class Jared Bullock, who is a wounded veteran of Iraq, or I should say Afghanistan, a home was built for him in Carbondale by the Gary Sinise Foundation. And I'll tell you, the Gary Sinise Foundation, for instance, they don't just do it for veterans, they also do it for first responders. Because a year ago, up in St. Louis area, Baldwin, Missouri, a young police officer was gunned down at a traffic stop. Never got his gun out of his holster, and they left him, an 18-year-old shot him, and they left him a quadriplegic. The Gary Sinise Foundation is right now constructing a home in Baldwin, his hometown, for this young man. And again, we're trying to not align ourselves with the Gary Sinise Foundation, but we want to make it public about just what this foundation does for veterans and for first responders, because as many of you know, first responders lead our parade every year. They have just as much a dangerous job as anybody else out there, and we're appreciative of that fact. So again, I was hoping Penny Bagby was going to be with me tonight, but he couldn't make it. Again, this parade was started by 4 veterans, 2 World War II vets and a Korean vet, and myself, a Vietnam vet. And we're proud of what we started, and we want to continue it. So with everybody's support here by coming out and being a part of this, if you're a veteran, please come out and either march or ride in this parade. It's a great community and a great patriotic event that we have right here in Southern Illinois in our city of Marion. Okay? Thank you again, Mayor, and I'll be in touch about the insurance and stuff that we need to.
Well, thank you, Ed, and we certainly appreciate all of the work that you've put in. We appreciate everything that you do, and I'm really amazed that you've been able to continue through all these years. And you haven't aged a bit, do you?
Well, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. I don't know, I look at that mayor and I go, ooh.
And of course, the committee that supports you and does good work, we appreciate everything that they do. And it's amazing to me the way people will step up and volunteer for worthy causes. And all of you are to be commended. And I want you to know the council certainly appreciates it. And we look forward to the September 9th parade.
All right, Mayor, City Council, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a young lady right there who'd like to address the council.
Yeah, do we have someone else that needs to address the council at this point?
He's
Yeah.
I wanted
Yes.
to, I just wanted to come here because I have some problems with the neighbors. I've called the code enforcer I've called them for the last 3 years, but since July the 2nd, we've had and I didn't know it was a dead dog, but I thought it was a dead dog, but it's a Great Dane that they just took out behind their building, and that's how they disposed of it. And I've called, and they said people don't answer their door or anything. They've been asked to mow their yard. They've been asked to clean up all the garbage. They only do just very little. But the dog issue, I got video. There's dead flies swarming everywhere. They dug a hole, but they didn't put the dog in it. They actually used the dirt to cover the dog. And now there's maggots, and there's stuff coming up out of the ground.
What is the address of this out?
801 North Hartkopf. But I have called so many people, you cannot be in my yard. I was in the swimming pool last night, and the gnats started to land on top of my pool, and I was scooping them out with a scoop from this. It's horrible.
This is intolerable, and I don't understand why there hasn't been some...
I went to all the neighbors, all of them are complaining. The lady that lives next door to them, that all your yard adjoins, and the lady next door, she has 2 little children. She can't even take her children out because there are 3 Great Danes. Now there's 2 because the one's laying in the yard dead. But the dog, where the yard is so small, the dogs just keep pottying in the yard, and that smell is horrible. But the dead smell is more than you can handle. I mean, you cannot be in my yard. It is so bad.
Okay.
I don't have a clue.
Is the dog still there in the
The
yard?
dog's still there, yes. And now, I got pictures, there's now a hole where it's just collapsing around it, and it looks like maybe one of its,
Okay, and
Gloves or
garbage is
something.
still there?
the garbage, they actually, because they left a note on the door, because no one will ever answer, they actually took the garbage and put it behind the building for the neighbors back there to have to put up with. But we've actually had snakes coming under my fence, and right out of the yard. I don't know how that's happening with the dogs, but
Okay.
I've called about the music. It's at 6 o'clock in the morning, when my windows are shaking, at 9:30 at night. I mean, I just have all kinds of problems, and all of the neighbors are, but I'm just here to speak up.
Yeah, well, and I really appreciate that, and this is intolerable. We do not
Your son
want that
actually
to
lives
be
across
going
the
on. I
street.
don't understand why
From
there
it.
hasn't been something done about it before now.
Yeah, it's bad. It is so bad.
Yeah.
I can't even believe someone would take their animal that lived in their home and just throw it out
Yeah.
after it's had mega puppies.
Now, that particular issue, isn't that an animal control issue as far as removing the carcass of the dog?
Last week, they came after I called because it was so bad. It was really bad. And I called. I stood on a ladder and took pictures over the fence. After they came, they got out in the rain and the storm and just took the dirt and dug it up and put it over the top of it. But now that's all caved in around it, and now there's maggots, and it looks like some kind
I
of
think we'll
throw-up
get
on
the
top
picture,
of
and
it.
I guarantee you that we'll get some action going on it immediately.
Well, a whole bunch of them were there last week, but nothing got done.
Well,
They just covered it.
I'm telling you, and this is a guaranteed promise,
Their
something
son
will
was
be
right
done.
across the street. I can't believe he's not smelling it. It's so bad.
Yeah. I really appreciate you stepping forward and explaining this to us, and we will get it taken care of one way or another.
When I called, they said that the house wasn't a rental home, but it is a rental home.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Well, I was wondering if they could get a hold of the guy and have him to do something
I
with
don't
him.
know, but we'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll get this taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and thank you. Okay. Anyone else have something we need to take up?
He's on number 9, if you, I think Ron's there for
We haven't done the
9.
minutes yet.
Well, I know what Ron's here for.
Zoning
Well,
board,
Mayor, you haven't approved the minutes yet.
Okay,
that's why he's here.
yeah. All right, Ron, you want to step forward? We're going to have consideration of request for special use permit to allow a pole barn for a plumbing business at 307 West Boynton Street. So, what say you?
Well, I would like to make some comments about when I came to the zoning board meeting last Thursday on July the 6th. And I'd appreciate if you'd just give me a couple of minutes because I got some notes here that I'd like to go through with you. On July 6th, I came to this location for a zoning board meeting in reference to the special use permit on Boynton Street for Mr. Tony Gooch. He was requesting a special use permit to locate his plumbing business there on Boynton Street. Stated that he would erect a new building on the property. I arrived at the meeting at 5:32. I was stopped by a train down here. And I was informed that the meeting was at 5:30 and that the board had opened the meeting, discussed the issue, voted on it, adjourned the meeting in 2 minutes.
very efficient, I'd say.
I'd say very well or efficient. I mean, you're getting whatever you are doing to them, they're being efficient. They further stated they did not know if they could reopen the meeting. Then they told me they would not reopen the meeting. One gentleman asked me if I was for or against the permit. I stated that I was not sure because I had questions about the plans for the business. You know, I thought you were supposed to talk about it. I told him I was probably against it, the way the zoning board had treated me in this situation. I was angry and a little troubled by the actions of the board. I admit that I just wasn't very happy. 2 minutes and everything was signed, sealed, and delivered in 2 minutes. Now, I know I don't look like Dave Severin or Dale Fowler or even Mike Boss, but I do have a little bit of intelligence and wherewithal. But I am supposed to believe that the board conducted the meeting in 2 minutes. I have a real problem with that. One gentleman asked me if I had some questions about the business I could ask Mr. Gooch since he was present, because I didn't know who he was when I came in. And I asked Mr. Gooch about some batting cages that I'd heard he was going to put there, and he explained that his son played baseball and that it would be for him and it would not be a commercial endeavor. He further stated some of his son's friends would probably use the cages also. I'm not sure how the subject came up, but Mr. Gooch stated that it would be better than having a bar there. This statement bothers me because the bar hadn't been there for a number of years, and I think it's a moot subject. One gentleman then asked why there was no opposition when the bar was put at that location. My answer was it was probably because it was a black-owned business. That one of the gentlemen got up and stated that it was not a racial issue and that he was not going to argue over this, and he left the area. I assume he went to talk to Gail, I'm not sure, because she came over a little bit after that and said that she had heard us getting kind of loud, and that's why she came over. One of the board members asked Gail if they could have reopened the meeting. Gail's response was that they could have reopened the meeting. Arbadella Marshall indicated to Gail that she was a loud person, and I agree with her. And I stated that I may have been talking loud, but I didn't disparage anybody. I was not happy. Maybe the level of my voice went up. But Gail asked me if I was representing the Boynton Street Center, and I responded no, that I was representing the community. She then asked one of the board members if they had locked the doors, and the response was no. Gail stated she would lock the door, and I assumed that was our cue to go. I would like to add that I never indicated that the issue was a racial issue. My answer to their question was that I think there was no opposition to it because it was a black-owned business. I don't think that's a racial statement or causes a racial issue. It is amazing to me that if you use the terms black, African American, Negro, all of a sudden it's considered a racial issue. It doesn't have to be. If I said it was Italian or Irish, that ain't gonna make it a racial issue. I merely answered the question that I was asked. My answer is still, right now, that there was no opposition at the time probably because it was a black-owned business, and I don't think that's a racial issue. In closing, I'd hope that if any other citizen or myself raised the issue of race, their position would be respected and that the zoning board would at least consider their position before making a decision. I still assume that the mission of the zoning board is still to grant all parties the opportunity to express their position. If a board member is not willing to listen to all parties and consider everything presented, then they should not be on the board. Finally, I do not oppose the special use permit, and I believe Mr. Gooch will be a good neighbor on Boyden Street. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. I think that was a very responsible, worthwhile statement, and I appreciate what you have said. And did you say something about Arbor being loud?
Yes.
Do you want to respond to that, Arbor? or-
I'm loud. You know I'm loud, so hey.
I know, but I wanted you to admit it.
She just did.
If you got something to
I
say,
need you to be loud.
yeah, come on up here and tell us something. Well, sure. You live in the neighborhood. You're right across the street there. Don't you have anything you want to say? Yeah, I knew you couldn't resist.
I've lived on Boynton Street ever since I moved over here in '71, and we have a busy street. You know how very busy it is, and there's always something going on. And the remark about the bar being there, that used to be my in-laws' plot, that whole field up there. And my brother-in-law opened up a bar, you know, and big deal, it's gone, it's been gone. And somebody else bought it. But as far as the community, we just want something decent in there, nothing that's going to be overbearing, nothing that's going to cause a lot of, what do you say, a lot of traffic that comes up in there, congestion, yeah. Because our street is really congested, and y'all know that. And it's really busy. Any time of night, there's traffic. Because I'm up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, my little dog, he get to barking, then I know something's out there. Somebody's walking, they're driving. He don't bark at the cars, but he bark at people walking. But it's just, we're not a bad neighborhood. And the center is up there. That's our concern, is the center. You know, with so much going on, traffic, and you have to watch the kids. And if you get too much going on, something's going to be happening.
That's right.
And I know this young man that's finna open up the doohickey, want to open it up. I know him since he was with my son. My son, they used to play ball and stuff. And I haven't seen him in 99 years. That's my statement of 99 years. That's what I say. But when he was on Jim's ball out there in the fields, he was a nice young man. And I don't know what he is now because I haven't seen him until the other night. But we're not trying to stop anything in particular. We just want something that's going to be good in our area and not a lot of traffic, and we got a lot of traffic as it is, but extra stuff, if you want to call it that. Mm-hmm. And if he's got a nice business, it's not going to be a junkyard, you know?
Yeah, and of course, I assume that the business would not be operating at midnight. There shouldn't be too much traffic going in and out there, I would say after 5 o'clock. So that should not have any effect on whatever goes on at night in your neighborhood. Then I think,
When I mean traffic, I mean vehicles. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but they wouldn't have anything to do with this business. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That is a separate issue, and one that perhaps the police department can look into. But otherwise, as always, we appreciate your words of wisdom, and
You just
I'm
wanna
glad to
get me
know
up
that
here.
you've slimmed down now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She did a good job.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yes, okay, very good. Anyone else have anything you'd like to say about the proposed special use permit? Well, we do have a recommendation from the zoning board, even if it was a quick meeting. Does anyone have any question about the operation?
And there's no opposition?
No.
Okay.
As was stated, I think Mr. Gooch would be a good neighbor.
I think Ron was expressing concern about the way the business was handled, right, really.
And to expect me to think that they
Yeah.
I got a real problem.
Yeah, and I think it's a point well taken, and I think we will have to advise the zoning board. They must give a little leeway, well, like for tonight here. As I was coming through the door, the town clock struck 6:30. Our meeting is supposed to start at 6:30. Now, these guys could have had the meeting and adjourned before I got here.
We thought about it.
Yeah, so you can see how that could happen. That being the case, what's your pleasure with respect to the request for the special use permit?
I'd make a motion to approve the special use permit.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second, call roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss,
Yay.
and Mayor Butler.
Yay. And Ron Arbor, we really appreciate your input, and I want to thank you for stepping forth and expressing your opinion. That was really good.
Well, it gets exciting.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, let's go to item number 2 under new business.
Jimmy Marshall.
Tell us, Chris, what's this about?
We never have approved the minutes. We never have approved the minutes of the July, of the June
Didn't we
meeting.
approve? I thought we voted on that.
What's that?
The minutes?
Minute, did we approve the minutes?
Somebody made a motion to approve. You said they were approved.
They're good enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought we'd taken care of it.
yeah.
Oh, this isn't, no, this isn't Chris, okay. Gail, do you want to tell us what this is about?
Are we on number 2?
Yeah, utility inspector.
Okay, well, we have 3 commissioners this applies to. So Anthony was involved with the interview and recommendations. I don't know if Anthony would like to speak to it. I would say this is a first for the city to have 3 commissioners, 3 superintendents, and 1 person working for all of them. So with water, sewer, and street. But I do think it will really alleviate some of the time constraints for our commissioners, not commissioners, our superintendents to work on some of their projects. And they had a good pool, and Anthony, I would defer to you.
Well, yeah, and Brent Kane, our sewer superintendent, Doug Phillips, Scott Connell, our water superintendent, they put a lot of input into this, and they worked together previously to get the excavating ordinance in place and what would be best for the city working in the future. This inspector's position was something that was talked about during that, and that, all those guys felt it was needed. Brian and Glenn can tell you that it is a nightmare what they're going through every week, and these guys meet every week on what's going underground in this city. And it's mind-boggling, and it's got to the point, where, they're putting somebody on it probably pretty much full-time, right? Yeah, and
it's sporadic, it's hard to staff.
And it, and then, we've talked about this position, and, of course, we advertised for it. Those guys, looked and come up with 2 individuals. We interviewed them. They all 3, with his background and with Ferguson Excavating, thought that he would be the best fit for the city, and I think he will be. Doug tells me that he's got his office ready, his computer ready, his vehicle ready, and tomorrow morning, if we approve this, that he's ready to, hit the road running at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I only have one question. When did we create the position?
The council created the position and approved the job description.
A couple of meetings ago.
Yes.
Yeah, several.
We did it, we've done it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a union position?
No,
No.
All right.
because of the job timeframe and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other comment or question, we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, Jim, you want to tell us about the,
Yeah, unfortunately, we have a position getting ready to open up at the police department. One of our officers, Adam Byrne, is turning in resignation, is leaving to go to, I believe, Texas, I think. So we wish him the very best. But because of that, we have a position open. We're working through would like to go ahead and get the approval to hire, looking at the merit board list, and they've got an individual selected. I don't have a name as of tonight because they're still doing some background checks. So I'd make a motion to allow the police department go ahead and fill a position for the police officer.
okay,
I'll second it.
got a second? Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, John, what's this about, a grind laser?
A grind laser, that's a piece of equipment that we remove the striping around town, and when we get ready to restripe, we have to take up the old decals. And the machine we have now is about 15 years old, and it used a grinder that loosens the pavement. This new deal is a laser that just skims off the top, and we're getting to do a lot of restriping. We have to have the machine. And it's in the budget, and we have the money. And it's my motion to approve the purchase of this grind laser from PMSI for the rate of $14,660.80. The original price is $18,180, but we get a discount for it being a city.
He thought last meeting when you was telling us about just because it's in the budget, we don't have to spend that money.
Yeah.
He just thought you was kidding. Or he didn't think you was talking to him.
I knew he was going to ask, do you have the money? Do you have the, we have all that, Mayor. And this is a very, very useful piece of equipment. But our old one's worn out, so we really need it.
What's the average lifespan of those?
Pardon me?
What's the average lifespan of those?
Ours lasted 15 years. I don't know how long this one lasts. It probably should last longer because it doesn't actually grind the concrete. It just skims off the decals. That's a much better deal.
I assume it's got a laser deal.
Yes, with various different accessories so you can do different depths on it.
Is it the same one that they use to remove cataract from your eyes?
They used to, that's it. That's what they've brought down to the street now. They got,
Okay, so that's your motion?
I think it is, yes.
Got a second? Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Now, Chris.
All right. Good evening, Council, Mayor. First on our list, a reasonable list, I think, not too long. We've got part-time hire recommendations within the Aquatics Department of 2 individuals. First one being James Levi Hamlin as lifeguard, part-time lifeguard at $9.50 an hour. And the second on that, first point is Heidi Clark Miller as a swim instructor at $20 per hour for a particularly exciting new program for special needs children for swim lessons. So she's going to help us launch that for partnership with the Southern Illinois Autism Society. So we're looking forward to that new person coming on as a special needs instructor.
That'll be Heidi.
Heidi. That one will be Heidi Clark Miller.
And Heidi has.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
She's a special ed teacher, too.
Special ed teacher, correct.
Yeah. Okay, what's your pleasure?
Make that motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Call the roll.
Is that you, Angelo?
Johnny.
John, okay. Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Item B, requesting approval of 2 job classification additions for current employees, also within aquatics, including Cayman Rosado, who's been a lifeguard with us from the beginning of our operation, and that's swim instructor classification at $20 per hour. Second individual, Madeline Neuschwander, as lead lifeguard at $12 per hour, also a part-time position. She has other part-time position classifications now.
What's your pleasure?
Make a motion.
Second.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay. Contract for real estate.
We'd like to move that to executive session, I believe.
Okay. Next, ordinance approving execution of tax increment district redevelopment agreement between the City of Marion and JMB Development, the Jimmy John's project. Tell us about it, Gail.
Well, you'll probably go, well, Jimmy John's is already done. But JMB Development, our TIF consultants, this is Jerry Barris's development company who had purchased the land, and he built the Jimmy John's restaurant per their specs. And he had originally, in his original TIF agreement, had that parcel and the parcel, the lot just behind it, which is not sold yet, as one entire TIF, or one parcel that he had done a TIF application. So our TIF consultants recommend splitting it so that, which they recently did, so that the the Jimmy John's could go ahead and the increment could be created because tax bills are going out and things for that restaurant. And then the unsold parcel that JMB Development is just working on now would be a second TIF project for him. Because he has more than enough development costs on Jimmy John's to apply and turn in increment costs because of especially the water retention and running all the infrastructure. So this is just a normal TIF agreement. It's a 70-30 split with JMB Development, which is Jerry Barris's development company, and it would be just entitled the Jimmy John's, so we know which parcel it's applicable to.
Okay, any question or comment?
And you can see the finished product already.
If not, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion to accept ordinance 3388.
Second.
87.
Call the roll.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Not
3387.
87, yeah.
Yep.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Ranella,
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower.
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Goss.
Yay.
And Mayor Butler.
Yay. Okay, proposed ordinance 3388, will not consider it this time. Item number 9, I think we've already disposed of. And we're talking about the contract on the old city hall. That will need to go into executive session. Has to do with real estate and also item 6, real estate purchase. Now, item 11, report from Code Enforcement Department.
Actually, our code enforcement manager, Kathy Spicer, has attached to your agenda are reports of activities of the code enforcement department and several maps and things. She, since the police department was giving one, she thought it'd be advantageous for the council to see. Part of it is demolitions that are in progress or that have been done. She has maps of different activities that are going on. And actually, there are several pages of what we call ordinance violation complaints that come in on our website. And the one that the lady was just commenting on about the house that had trash and the deceased animal is on this list, and Codes had already had there's an environmental issue, and it was turned in on July 9th. It was created, so.
It's something we need to get moving on.
Yeah, and Steve, we were just discussing the order of how it goes, so.
Yeah,
Steve's gonna check
I
on it.
don't know which department ought to take the lead on this, but this is absolutely ridiculous.
Definitely.
And I do not know who all she has been talking to in the city with absolutely no result.
Well, I became aware of it when Anthony brought it to my attention.
Well, yeah, I see a report and it says everything's been taken care of, which obviously is not the case.
Right. And I don't know if animal control was contacted.
It doesn't matter. We've got to find out. Somebody's got to bury that dog or pick it up and get rid of it.
It'll get taken care of.
Yeah, I don't care if it's code enforcement or if it's the animal control, but we can't play ping pong and have things bouncing back and forth between departments. If nothing else, they need to coordinate and work together to take care of stuff like this. And that's only part of it, because she's complaining about the garbage and I don't know what else there. So somebody has got to take the lead and get this thing cleaned up.
I will take that responsibility. I'm going there tonight. I will knock on their door. I will talk to them if they are there. If they refuse to take care of the issue, I will file a complaint tomorrow.
That's what I like to hear, yes. Prompt action. Now all we got to do,
I think one of the things she was concerned about, that another individual owns this house, and she's not quite even sure they're even renting this off of this.
it doesn't matter who.
No, it doesn't, but what I'm saying if they're just in there without renting it from somebody, she says the whole back end's off of this house, and water just pours in it.
Okay, that's
could
where
be.
code enforcement needs to jump in. That,
Well, I mean, they're quick to post a yard that's got 7-inch high grass
Yeah,
when
well,
6 inches is our limit, but
I am
See-
familiar with these people. I'm not going in the backyard unless Hightower goes with me.
he's afraid of dead Great Danes, I know.
No, I've seen.
yeah.
Okay, as long as we know that that's going to be taken care of. And the report here for the first 6 months of the year for code enforcement is rather impressive.
I find this very interesting and informative, Mayor. I think that each department head, it'd be good to have the council have their report on a maybe a quarterly basis or so, because there, all this going on, we have no idea what they've
Yeah,
done. And the public had no idea what they've done.
I think you're exactly right.
I know the street department has done such a great job, they ought to be recognized about the other departments. But seriously, I think we should have Gail or someone look into scheduling reports.
I think we need to have Steve prepare a short ordinance establishing that each department will make a quarterly report to the city council of their activities.
I think that's well said.
Now, when we say their activities, that's pretty general and pretty broad. So we may need to be more specific about that.
Yeah.
Can you do it as a policy
Yeah.
instead of an ordinance?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like code enforcement here, they talk about the violations, the inspections, and then they talk about the fines or fees that were levied and the amount of money that had been collected. It gets to be rather impressive.
Yeah.
Now, not every department is going to have this kind of revenue situation. But, well, we get a monthly report from the police department right now.
Police and fire.
And I think we need to have that across the board. Now, I don't know about the sewer department, how that might work there, but it is something to explore. Would you put something like that together?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I don't think it'd hurt to do it on a monthly basis. I meant, and have it available at the meeting, the first meeting preceding the
Well,
month. Because most of these,
like the code enforcement here, boy, to require that for every month would be.
yeah, but they got it.
It would be, give them time to have more than one thing.
It's nothing to them because it's on computer. It's computer generated. They got spreadsheets on it, you know. And I don't think, you know, I know like at the fire department, it's just a matter of clicking a button and everything is generated out there. Because it's entered in a daily basis.
We might want to give them 2 or 3 months to comply, like if the sewer department don't have anything, it might take them a while to get something going. But
Yeah, and there's so many things that's not in the computer perhaps that have been accomplished that the public would like to know. This really justifies the code department being there.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
look at all these
Yeah,
figures and
that's great.
things they have done, people say, what's the code department do? This justifies their existence. Because they've done a
Absolutely.
lot. They ask about demolitions, how come they're not down? I read here where they have 4 demolitions in progress. They've started 7, and they have a total number of active demolitions, 11. That's in process right now.
Getting rid of
And-
derelict and abandoned
Yeah, and
buildings.
the public say, how come that, well, they're in process.
Yeah.
We don't know that unless the department heads come to tell us.
What would be interesting, and former Commissioner Jay Ricks was adamant about tearing houses down.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd like to know how many we've actually torn down in the last 10 years.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't think we don't have computer records back that far.
Oh, gee whiz, you'd have.
I mean, if you're asking, one of the things I wanted to mention is you all have superintendents and directors who do a lot of work. If the council's going to say, we want to report every month, you're going to I have some people that are going to hyperventilate because it's one more thing on their plate. Many of the projects of Public Works take a number of months to even do. We have sewer projects that have started months ago, like your sewer extensions, and they take months to complete. So we would have some people saying ditto, ditto, ditto. We have some reports like street projects, like Market Street. We've all worked on Market Street for months, maybe almost a year. And so part of it, and then you have other departments. When you consider senior citizens, do you want to know how many meals they serve? It's in their newsletter. They give you their newsletter every month. Library, how many books they issue. They give a newsletter and a board report to the council every month. So that information's given to you, and if we go, okay, Civic Center, do you want to know how many times it's rented and how much money? They don't have a run report. They don't have how many people they have arrested. they have rental numbers. Right now, they've been closed for 2 weeks because they are rebuilding the stage floor that the council did approve. Or the pavilion, how many weddings they held, how many rentals they held. So it is different for each department. How many on the hub? Chris can tell you how many members they have and how many people came in the door practically daily. So part of it is you can get a lot and be overwhelmed. And I want if you're wanting a process or a policy, I think an ordinance is a little strong, but realistically, or you could have Terrence tell you how many times he was up last week getting calls from computers that were down in the middle of the night at maybe the police station or the fire department.
Sure.
And so part of it depends on, you're going to actually turn some of them into just number crunchers because they're going to try to impress each person with a report. So I'm just cautioning what do you want, and some of it you already get and evidently have not seen, but it does come to you.
I think, Dick Gale, that one of the biggest things in my interest is the public is not aware of this. And we may know it. I didn't know all of these code figures. And I'm sure that the general public sometimes wonder what goes on with all these people.
It's on our website.
An opportunity to tell them.
For what? The code numbers?
Yeah.
Not the financials.
Not the financials.
Not the financials.
No.
The reports.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's something, I mean,
That-
that's, the treasurer's office would need to be excluded from that because
Right.
that's very confidential
Oh, yeah.
information over there.
Well,
So I'm just asking. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea.
No.
But I was going to say, on some, we get the information. Because, I mean, I have board reports from the Civic Center Board, you guys do, the Civic Center, Library, Senior Citizens every month. And then the others, if you said, hey, we'd like to have a report of how many rentals the pavilion had the last 6 months. I mean, it's all on spreadsheet. All he has to do is print it out and hand it to you. Not that it always goes to the public.
Never does. Most of them.
Well, and because part of it is, it's not something, does the public want to know all this, or
I think
we
the public
put it on the
would like to
website?
know- I think the public would like to know what goes on within, like in Terrence's department. He's been approached by people out of state, across the United States, about certain things being done in his websites, and the accomplishments been made here in Marion. And the public is not aware of how advanced we are in just his department, plus others. And the only way you're going to do that is for him or somebody to come by and expand on more than dollars and cents. I'm not so worried about the dollars and cents. It's how much progress and what good are we doing and how valuable are we in the eyes of the public.
Well,
That's where I'm coming from.
A point, I see where Carbondale had the paper that they're gonna have free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And we've had it for years.
At
they
$11,000.
spent $30,000, I think.
They probably had to do a study.
It's going to be $120,000 over 5 years for Carbondale to have Wi-Fi.
And
We got it
Study
done for
was
$10,000.
$30,000.
yeah, we spent $10,000 and now it's free.
And Carbondale's going to go with $120,000. We spent 10 as our
Thanks to
IT.
Terrence.
So that needs to be out to the public. What I-
It is, yeah. So anyhow, I mean, the council and we can work on it, or you can send ideas and we'll formulate something so that they don't feel
Well-
like they have,
Well, I think John is addressing something. It needs to be addressed. And if we are already doing most of this, we need to get it in a format that we know. So everybody will have something that they can talk about in each department.
First time I ever heard him say a computer word, format.
Did I say format?
You did. It's impressive.
Been brainwashed.
Yeah, I've been brainwashed.
See, the press is not aware of all this inner workings. And if they knew it, there'd be a lot of PR work done for the city of Marion. And it would hit on websites, hit on Facebook, hit a lot of places. And Marion would be recognized a lot of places if the press is aware of it. These dollars and cents are fine, but they need more why it happened, how it happened, I think. That's all I got to say.
Okay, so we I think, are finding out that most of what we were talking about is already available. It just isn't being publicized.
Exactly right.
And so I think to use your word again, we need to establish a format for this to make sense.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've said it for years, guys. I think one of the things that we fail to do here in this city is toot our own horn.
Right.
And we don't market ourselves enough.
Right.
And we're doing it, but
Nobody knows it.
nobody knows it.
That's exactly right. Now,
Well, what they do, though, they see the ultimate result,
Yeah.
which is cutting-edge efficiency of municipal government.
wow.
We have old business also before you go to executive session.
Okay, well, hold up, Steve, and putting together something, and maybe Gail can...
I work with Steve on it, so we can...
Oh, okay, work something out so that everybody gets the information that apparently is readily available. Now, we do have a question here about the vacation ordinance. I think that's under old business. And I'm a simple fellow, I'm naive, but that seems to me to be unduly complicated. Yeah. Proposed ordinance 3386. We get into it, and I understand that this is probably a product of a consortium of attorneys. And I cannot think of anything that could be more disastrous than to have a group of attorneys get together to put something together. Just one minor exception here. When we talk about vacation property, I thought we were talking about people having a bedroom that they would rent out for 1 or 2 nights for people passing through. Supposedly, the people passing through would be on vacation. Well, I find that this goes well beyond that. There is one provision in here, in fact, they talk about permanent residence. Now, how on earth that gets in there, I do not understand.
Permanent dwelling or a permanent residence would not be defined as a vacation rental. Vacation rental would be anything less than 30 days to someone outside of your family for the most part in terms of the definition. It would not include a motel or a hotel that
I
would be
know.
licensed.
Yeah. Like we've got a spare bedroom at our house. We could let that out
Right.
for 1 or 2 nights to somebody vacationing. Okay. Now, that is the simplest form that I can think of.
It can also include your home. Some people do rent out their entire home for a period of time. It also would include a portion of your land if you intended to rent it out for tent space, camper, or something along those lines as well. That's why it's broad.
Well, what you're thinking, fellas, you see, it's rather comprehensive, but gee whiz, we get in here, family. You got type A, type B, type C, type D, family. I mean, to me, a family is just a homogeneous group of father, mother, and kids. That's the family.
Definition of family in this day and age is a little bit different.
I don't care. Family is traditionally defined as a family. Just because some idiot is dreaming up something out in left field is no reason that we have to follow suit.
Well, when I go into court to try to enforce some of this, it helps that we've defined it fairly close in terms of what we see in society.
when you go into court, you tell the court the way it should be.
Well, I suspect the judge might tell me the way it's going to be. I hear you. I don't disagree with your sentiment, but our reality is that our society has changed dramatically in terms of that definition in the last 10 years.
Well, the next thing you're going to tell me is that same-sex couples are a family.
Yes, sir, I would tell you.
And see, that goes against every fiber in my body.
Well, I understand that, but it is something that is allowed in the state of Illinois. And
Okay.
I don't think this is.
So that's
the
not
place that we
politically
need to
correct.
discuss
I don't
that.
care.
Now, the one thing we're looking at is, we have people, one of the various places that's rented has 102 different reviews. So that means 102 people have stayed there since 2014. If you asked our fire chief or building codes, they have no occupancy sticker. They don't have any fire codes that have been approved. So part of it is what we're looking at is to try to set a standard, and it's really an internet-generated ordinance. We're trying to respond to the changing society. People don't reserve through the hotels, they reserve online. I can make a reservation in California and not even have to go through a hotel. But so part of it is you're trying to establish a standard that a lot of cities have already set up. And that's why Steve and the home rule attorneys are trying to get a standard more like a standard ordinance, so that so on some of these things, it's way beyond us of all the different things. This isn't going to catch or actually even establish for everyone, because there's a lot of people. If you looked on the website for Airbnb today, there are 2 new places listed and 4 that were there last week that were listed. There are 10 or 12 that are fairly new. People are doing this, some in response to the eclipse, but a lot of these are not new. If you consider somebody has been renting since 2014, that's not new. If you consider somebody is establishing the 3rd floor and you're able to climb steps and you don't have a fire escape, then I don't want that on my conscience if that happens. And something happens to people in our area that have rented, and they have 5 sleeping rooms.
Well, I don't think there's any question that we want to do what we need to do for the safety and welfare of people who may be using one of these facilities. It's just that I'm not comfortable with the way this thing is set up.
Are you saying on fire escapes, if I rent out the back bedroom and there's only one door out,
You can't do it.
it can't be rented?
Do it.
He's the retired fire chief. It has
Well,
to.
Steve would know. You got to have 2 ways out.
Yes.
So you're in the back bedroom of my house, and I can't get out except through one door. I can't rent that building, rent that room.
Well, no, there is a way.
Yes.
There is a way around it, and I found that out in Sparta on our honeymoon. We tried everywhere to find a motel, but it was during the DuCoin Fair. Everything was taken up, so we found this hotel in Sparta. Antiquated, you might say. The air conditioning consisted of a big exhaust fan at the end of the hall, and if you wanted air to circulate, you had to open your transom over the door.
Been there.
And of course, open a window. And so I walked around the bed and I tripped. And I looked down, and there was a rope coiled up. And beside it was a sign, "In case of fire, throw out the window." That was the fire escape in that hotel.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm suggesting is, if you've got a situation 3rd floor and only one way, just give them a rope, let them climb down the rope.
They do have ladders. I mean, you can buy them, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that meets the elements of the life safety code, but here again, I think Steve's put together an ordinance that's going to take away a lot of liability for the city, because now we can take the fire department, we can take the codes, we can go into these places and say, hey, you're making monies and you're not adhering to the same thing everybody else that's in this business is doing. I think that's all he's trying to, cover the city in doing with this ordinance. I think it's pretty comprehensive, and I personally am not opposed to that.
I'm not opposed to the concept. I'm not sure, however, how it's being implemented. And that's my problem. Why do you have to have 4 definitions of family?
Because, as he explained, in this society, there is many different elements of family. And, you may not agree with it, I may not agree with it,
Yeah.
but
Well, I don't know what the definition of family is. Just call it a family and go forth. You don't have to have 4 categories here. What difference does it make? Family's a family.
Would you say that a commune is a family?
Out in Oregon,
They would probably define themselves that way.
Look at Manson. Manson called his a family.
That's right.
They lived in a commune.
That's right.
Well, if Manson wants to rent one of these, I'm against it.
Manson, I don't think Manson's going to be renting in Marion for a while.
I'm
Yeah.
opposed to regulating the spare bedroom, if somebody wants to rent out as a spare bedroom and say they can't do it.
Here's the thing though, Johnny. You're on ground level, and
Yeah.
you have a window, and that does make a difference. It's when you start going up in the air, things get more stringent. And I'm sure that my best guess is that this one residence doesn't have any fire-rated sheetrocks on the wall, on the ceilings.
No, they don't.
No, it doesn't have any. I doubt it has I would hope that it has working detectors, but because we don't have an ordinance that regulates that we can go in and see this, we don't know.
Well,
And that's and I just I think it's
You're talking now, we have the ordinance on rental property. When a renter moves out,
these
before it can
people,
be
that's right,
re-rented.
but these people are not claiming themselves as such. And that's what we got to regulate.
Well,
Everybody needs to be on the same level playing field.
okay, then are you saying that if I rent my extra bedroom out
It's gonna
tonight?
cost you $50. I hope you rent it for at least
Yeah,
$55.
okay, but I rent it out one night. Before I can rent it out again, the inspector has to come and inspect that.
They don't even do it now, Mayor. They don't.
I know they don't, but
we only inspect apartments once every 3 years. Now, tell me why that.
Because we haven't done what we should do.
I agree with that.
Okay, so because we haven't done what we should have done before, let's do this right. Now, are we going to say that it's necessary after somebody's rented the bedroom one night, that it has to be inspected by the code enforcement people before they can rent it again?
You don't do that with hotels.
we don't do that.
is it,
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't require it.
is it a city liability if I rent out my back bedroom and some guy comes through town, need a place to stay? Does the city have a liability on that?
It's my judgment, if somebody were to bring suit against the city, they would not be successful.
No.
Irrespective of whether we pass this ordinance.
No.
Well, it's not a matter of liability, it's a matter of the health and safety welfare of the individual that is using the
Yeah,
premise.
but you've got a right in your own home, surely, to rent out your bedroom to whomever you want without the city telling me I can't do
You also will
it.
have neighbors
Oh, yeah,
complaining.
well, I got no problem.
about-
You want to
Yeah,
rent
you have
it,
neighbors
Manson, go
complaining about
ahead.
parking on the street. We have several of these rentals that it posts online where you have to park your car. You may unload your car in front of the vehicle, but you may not park. And so part of it is, you also, these are neighborhoods. I mean, there's a trailer for rent off of Skyline Drive. There's an apartment for rent on Skyline Drive for, 2 nights only. But they've rented a number of times. So you have people in residential neighborhoods, and you have houses that are renting to, they have 8 rooms they're renting. Now, where are they going to put 8 cars? Because those are 8 different rooms. So part of it is we're also going to have impact in the community, because if we don't regulate it, then we'll have complaints of people that, you know,
Well,
they're having a business. Because these
park-
people are setting, most of these places are set up as a business.
But the parking is already regulated. They can't, if they got 8 cars, they're not gonna be able to park there anyhow. Already.
Legally.
Well, yeah, well, that's up to Jim, he take care of that.
Once the city starts inspecting, they're accepting more liability. Once the city starts inspecting these properties.
That's right.
No,
I disagree with you.
so we can let this sit for another couple of months. We won't.
Well, I'd say let's let it sit for a while. I
Well, I was
don't know
gonna
about a
say,
couple
the
of
idea
months.
was to try to get impacted so we would be able to use it with all of the people that are now trying to rent for the Eclipse. That's why the numbers.
Oh, well, yeah. We don't want to get involved in trying to regulate for the Eclipse.
No, the rentals before
No.
the Eclipse. Because otherwise, people are already in Carbondale are renting ground.
That's over within a month, isn't it? Isn't it
Well, like
over within a
21st of
month?
August.
August 21st.
July, August, well, it's pretty
6
close
weeks.
to a month.
Yeah.
To be done with any, it'd be a moot question.
Yeah.
But, well, yeah, the Eclipse is, but I think Gail's already pointed out some of these properties, this has been going on for 3 years now without any regulation.
How will we track the regulation? I mean, is it an honor system?
We would have, it would be no different than, you know, having a license if you're having a video game. You know, these people market themselves. I mean, most of the people, if you look online, you're going to know who they are and where they are.
So we'll have somebody looking online for these places to make sure they have a
Well,
license?
you know, we would probably, if you pass an ordinance, we would probably publish it in the newspaper saying, you know, by January 1st or whatever date the council sets, a license will be needed to, you know, you should rent your home or apartment or whatever over the internet. This isn't local renting. These people don't come from just Marion. These are out-of-town, out-of-state rentals. 2 people were from California that rented a room in Marion.
I see, since it's being done on the internet, I just see it maybe being a challenge to track that, you know?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
But part of it is a bed and breakfast. They're competing against the bed and breakfasts that are licensed in this town.
How many bed and breakfast operations do we have?
We have 1 now.
Yeah.
We used to have 2. We have 1 now. Who's kind of a,
It's not exactly a booming industry.
well, it's booming online because you're not regulating it.
Those are the ones that we know about.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, well, okay, I think we need to let this simmer for a while. I believe there are questions that need to be answered, and,
Well, if you have questions, please, I mean, let us know. These
well,
are-
we just got this.
Oh, you got it 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
Well, I've only looked at it just now. And I think we muddled through enough stuff without jumping in precipitously. And I don't know of anybody on the council that has really thoroughly digested what's in this ordinance.
I have.
You've read it? Yeah.
Pretty thorough, comprehensive, reasonable. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I've read it too. I mean, I see no issue. I don't see any liability for the city. I think, you know, I just think this is, you know, here again, you know, with the internet and things like this is a new wave, and people are going to do it, and well, they're already doing it, and, you know, I think we put ourselves more at risk by not regulating it than by turning our head.
Well, I don't think the city's going to have any liability if we don't act on this.
But we have a moral imperative to take care of our citizens.
Hang on, you let somebody burn up in that 3-story house over there, and we know that they're running a business there, and you think we're not going to get sued? Please.
Yeah, we wouldn't, you can get sued over anything.
I
That
think-
doesn't mean they'd be successful.
I think Steve said probably wouldn't be successful with that.
Yeah. Well,
I think the government has no business getting into my private house and doing what I want to do in there. So that's my objection to this thing.
But this
They're making
individual,
money from it.
but this
Well, so
individual,
what?
this individual
That's
has,
what entrepreneurs do, is to
this,
make money.
this
That don't
individual
belong to the
doesn't even
city.
live in that house. I believe,
Well, some of the houses, no. Some of them are just for rent, period.
yeah,
Didn't we just tell somebody they couldn't sell golf carts on their property just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, you did.
I
yeah.
mean,
well, it's zoning. That's a
zoning.
different
Well, but you
proposition.
have to have a, you know, you don't have these zoned for special use, and they're renting their house, or they're renting rooms, and that's in a residential area.
No, you're going to have to
Well, that-
rezone the city to make it all commercial.
motion will just go up and down.
That, of course, raises the question of zoning.
Yeah, you got to rezone the city for commercial people there, I would think.
How about I just make a motion and we see where the vote goes? I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance 3386.
I'll second it.
Call the roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
No,
and Mayor Butler?
No. Okay, 3386 is adopted. Now, I think we may be ready to go into executive session for discussion of a couple of real estate matters,
You want me to get my bills?
unless you want to have something on
Yeah,
bills.
I think we'll pay him. Want to pay him?
Well, if you
if you
think,
got the money,
Yeah, I think, well, that's why I always says as funds are available, I make a motion to pay the monthly bills as funds become available.
second.
call roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
and Mayor Butler?
Yay. Consent agenda?
Because my thing's not working. I make a motion to pay the consent agenda.
Second.
Call roll.
Yeah.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yeah.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
And Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
And Mayor Butler?
Yay. Okay, anything else?
No.
Angelo?
No.
Jim?
Speaking of reports, I do have one from the police. So, city ordinance violations, we had 14. We had 18 warrant arrests. This is for the month of June. We had 418 incidents reported, 113 traffic accidents, and 8 DUIs.
What?
8 DUIs in the month of June.
8
There was a
DUIs?
sale on alcohol this past month.
Yeah.
Boy,
I think Alice mentioned it was 5, I think, before, the month before.
Last month.
So, yeah. So they've been busy.
it looks to me like we have a drinking
Orgy.
epidemic going on here. Gee whiz. Okay, anything else, John?
No, thank you.
Okay, need a motion to go to executive session
I'll make that motion.
For real estate?
for real estate
And contracts.
And contract.
contract.
You got contracts.
My motion.
Motion made, seconded, called roll.
Commissioner Vanella?
Yay.
Commissioner Hightower?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Goss?
Yay.
and Mayor Butler?
Yay.